We have recently gone through the NBA arenas, and that was pretty cool. So now we're going to check out some college conferences. Oh, and in case you think that it's going to be a step down from the NBA, think again. The SEC, for instance, has some arenas that are similar to the NBA, but also some that are completely unique. Anyway, here are the Southeastern Conference basketball arenas. And a big thanks to rateyourseats.com for providing most of the interior shots you'll see in this video. Coleman Coliseum, home of Alabama Crimson Tide. The exterior is the usual affair, an arched roof, brick facade, and quite a nice grand entrance. On the inside it's a little more distinctive with that stripe design on the ceiling. These are made up of acoustical tiles that help absorb noise. Other than that, there's a rather nice center hung scoreboard and just a single tier of seats which are appropriately crimson. Walton Arena, home of the Arkansas Razorbacks. It also goes by the name the house that Walmart built. Okay, maybe not, but it should. It's named after a Walmart founder who donated a large sum to go towards construction. The facade has a very interesting tartan-like pattern to it, which isn't carried over to the interior, which has 2 tiers of seating. The Razorbacks got off to a dream start to their new arena, going undefeated at home and winning the national championship. Auburn Arena, home of the Auburn Tigers. It's the smallest in the conference, which, considering the past players that Auburn have had, I think is terrible. Speaking of the devil, he does actually have a statue outside the arena. That's terrible. Jeez, ungrateful. There are 3 tiers of seating this time, kind of. Those lower down are retractable, as is often the case. But that orange and blue combination does look rather nice. O'Connell Center, home of the Florida Gators. An interesting roof design, it's reminiscent of a bucket hat, with a little bit of flying saucer thrown in for good measure. I quite like that. And speaking of orange and blue, the Gators also sport those colors, but they've kept the orange minimal. The arena underwent a major rebuild 5 or so years ago, and it has a very modern aesthetic throughout the entire building. Stegeman Coliseum, home of the Georgia Bulldogs. It's a very old one, but I really like how they've kept the original shape of the structure, but just added heaps of glass. It looks fantastic. Obviously they've done more than just add glass over the years, they've updated other things. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but the inside resembles their football stadium, which is certainly no bad thing. Particularly the way that one end has less seats, but with that video board up above. I mean, it looks the same. Rupp Arena, home of the Kentucky Wildcats. One of the largest basketball arenas in the country is currently undergoing a major renovation. It'll go from looking like a pizza box to a futuristic pizza box, very cutting edge. As for the interior, well, they'll be replacing the benches in the top tier with chairback seats, among other things. Honestly, I know it doesn't work like this, but the Kentucky Wildcats could slip right into the NBA with these facilities at their disposal. Actually, there is no team from Kentucky in the NBA, or a team called the Wildcats. Maybe they should just try to sneak their way in. See what happens. Pete Maravich Assembly Center, home of the LSU Tigers. It's located between a dirty swimming pool, a track stadium, not a track and field stadium, just tracks surrounded by track, and of course Tiger Stadium. It has a fairly basic old school exterior. As for the interior, well, you can tell it's quite old, but it still looks great. It reminds me of what Madison Square Garden used to look like. And the purple seats. Always good to see plenty of purple. Oh, and just a side note, those new curved video boards are an excellent addition as well. The Sandy and John Black Pavilion at Ole Miss, home of the Ole Miss Rebels. We're breaking the trend of white roofs with this one, and the trend of naming an arena after just one person. It is the newest arena in the conference, and although the exterior looks quite good, the newness is more apparent on the inside, because, well, these columns could be from any era. But then you walk through the door and, excuse my language, but by golly does it look incredible. Sorry, that was a bit explicit, but it's such a nice arena. I love to see those huge windows, and that scoreboard is immense. Humphrey Coliseum, home of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The arena has a grand brick facade that wraps around the entirety of the exterior. With the addition of those white columns, it has a very unique, but still fairly traditional aesthetic. As you can see, it goes by the nickname, The Hump. I'm not sure why. Is it only open on Wednesdays? Or can it be found on top of a camel? It's short for Humphrey. God damn, that guy's dumb. Oh yeah, of course. It has a real classic look to it, this one. Mizzou Arena, home of the Missouri Tigers. Another arched roof design, but this one's very modern and like nothing we've seen so far. That arching roof allows for some windows to be put in up top, which is always nice once again. And they've seemingly paid tribute to their football stadium's iconic Giant M by including their own Giant M on the bench seating at one end. Yes, that's bench seating. It might seem strange if you're someone who only watches the NBA, but it's not uncommon in college basketball arenas. Colonial Life Arena, home of the South Carolina Gamecocks. I always thought that a gamecock was someone who cheats at Monopoly, but apparently it's a rooster that is bred and trained for cockfighting, which is not what it sounds like. The arena's exterior kinda resembles an Aztec pyramid, which is quite interesting. As for the interior, well, it's not too dissimilar to the Hump. And to be honest, I couldn't really pick between the two, maybe this one. Damn, all I had to do was look at the court and I would have known what a gamecock was. Just a really angry rooster. Thompson-Boling Arena, home of the Tennessee Volunteers. Having a prime riverside location is normally a big plus for a stadium, with some spectators usually getting a decent view of it, particularly for baseball. But once you're inside an arena, you could be in the Sahara Desert, it wouldn't make a difference. I like the interior though, and I especially like how they've got that orange and white checkerboard behind the baseline, matching the end zones of the nearby football stadium. I don't want to undersell it, it really is a stunning arena, no wonder they're happy to volunteer. Reed Arena, home of the Texas A&M Aggies. It's not the most interesting of exteriors, but conversely, it's not the least interesting of exteriors. What a waste of a sentence that was. Considering they have one of the biggest football stadiums in the world, it has a surprisingly modest capacity of a tick under 13,000. Nevertheless, it seems to be more than adequate, just not quite as flashy as some of the others we've seen so far. See, if that wall was a giant window, it would make all the difference. Why do I keep talking about windows? God. I swear I don't work for Microsoft. Memorial Gymnasium, home of the Vanderbilt Commodores. It's the oldest arena in the conference and has probably the most unusual design in the conference. And I mean that in a good way. It almost looks like it was designed for an epic motorcycle stunt. Oh! That gives me an idea. Non-alcoholic bananas. You can sort of see why it looks like that. Each side of the court has its own separate stand, reminiscent of a European football stadium. Some areas even look like an opera house. You definitely wouldn't see that in the NBA. And that's why I'm looking forward to checking out the other conferences. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.